And that moves us on to our Picks of the Week, where we talk about something we've been playing, watching, doing, something in the entertainment world that we think you people at home might enjoy as well. These aren't necessarily the best things out there, but we are having fun with them. So we're going to talk about it and spread the love, as it were. So, to crack us off, Scotty, what is your Pick of the Week?
I just saw this on there. I can't believe they made a documentary out of this.
So everybody remembers and knows how much I love the movie Monster Squad, The Monster Squad. There is a documentary called Wolfman's Got Nards, a documentary. And I'm not going to spend too much time on it, because if you've not seen the movie, you won't care. The movie there's a documentary on, but we watched it last night, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of passion in that fan base. It's a movie that gained a cult following decades after the fact, because people realize it's not Goonies, and it came out the same year as The Lost Boys. But Wolfman's Got Nards is actually made by a good bit made by the star of the movie, and I forget his name, who played Sean. I could probably just look on the back here. Derp, 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 derp. Oh, maybe not. It's really hard to read. Tiny things. Shane Black? I don't know. Seth Green's in it. Adam Goldberg, creator of the Goldbergs, is in it.
No way.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny that he's in it, because there are so many episodes, and they use clips of the show where he has characters in the Goldbergs saying Nards. Like, it's a reference to this movie. But no, Wolfman's Got Nards is fun. It's really cool, and it's unfortunate that it took this long for that movie to gain a type of following that it should have had from the outset. But it's cool. If you like the Monster Squad, I definitely recommend this documentary. You might have a little bit of a hard time finding it. If I show you guys the Blu-ray, it is... Well, let me just show you the Blu-ray. Here's the front. There's the back.
Ooh.
It's a mirror.
It's not blue.
It's a black mirror.
Yeah, it's not blue. Are all Blu-ray movies blue? Where's my Blu-ray? I've only got a few.
This
Blu-ray
is
movies.
very much bootleg. We might have to contact somebody, but we enjoyed it. But if you were to look at this case long enough, is that a black one that you're holding up there, Graham?
It looks silver. It's just silver. In the UK, okay. Blu-rays are probably not blue. This is the official release of The Martian.
The back of this is definitely solid black instead of blue or silver, and the artwork is definitely not centered on the disc. It looks okay, but when Rachel showed this to me, I'm like, I don't think this is legit, honey. But it's still good. So if you can find it out there, what's interesting, and appropriately enough, the DVD version of Monster Squad kind of happened as a result of the fan base, because it just wasn't out there. It didn't do well. Nobody cared, so you had to have the VHS, and that was it. It kind of got made because of the demand, which is funny, because it's very hard to find this documentary, and super odd that she found it and it sold out so quickly. So if you can find it some way, shape, or form, Wolfman's Got Nards is a decent documentary on a fun movie.
Okay.
I've got a movie which is kind of a black background to it.
That's still silver.
It's quite dark. It's darker compared to my other
ones.
Says
the colorblind man.
Says yes. Yeah. Don't listen to me.
None of my Blu-rays are blue. I didn't know that was actually really a thing. Okay. Whoops.
All right, I took a picture of it and I'll send it to you guys in the Discord, but we can move on.
Yeah, cool. Nice. No,
unless you guys have any questions about it at all.
So it's basically just a documentary about how the movie was made. Is that correct, or like
more about the fan base around it, and also how it was made? But it has all stars in it that made the guy who did Shape of Water did the creature costume in this.
Oh,
the creature from the Black Lagoon, the Gill Man, and other people who went on to do it and Predator and other things that big movies had a hand in this film, and it shows with the. I know you aren't a fan of it, Chris, but you got to admit that the creature effects for all the monsters are really good in this movie, though.
Yes.
So it's just really cool to see who was part of it, and if you watch the documentary and you're a fan of it, it begs the question, like, yeah, why didn't this do well? But there are some parts I will not get into because it's kind of spoilers, because Rachel's and my reactions to the marketing that they tried for this are just, how the fuck do you think that would work? And I can't explain it without
getting into the film.
Yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. But it's fun.
That sounds cool. As we discussed on other podcasts, I've never seen Monster Squad, even though I thought I had, and then we discussed what I thought it was, and it was not that movie. So I still need to see that movie first.
That might be a better picture of how the Blu-ray looks to you guys, I just said.
Okay.
It's wild.
Yeah, that is really weird. Yeah, it doesn't... I don't know. I can't tell if it's legit or not, because...
I've never tried to burn DVD or Blu-rays, so I don't know what a BDR looks like. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing, to be honest. But yeah, Chris, you got any comments or questions?
No, not on that.
Fair enough.
We did a sideshow on the Monster Squad. Chris was on it for that, I believe, and I was.
Yep. If you want my thoughts, go check that out.
Okay, maybe I will do. So with that and Anti-Chris, what is your pick of the week?
I am in love with Yakuza Like a Dragon. That game has, like, I was already excited for what Like a Dragon was going to be. One, I'm a huge Yakuza fan. I love the series. I think that it is like one of Sega's finest games and IPs out of their entire collection. It might be their best one. I know that's arguable for some people. I love everything that Yakuza is. There's some hit and misses. Like, some games are obviously way better than others. But the Yakuza series as a whole, with everything they bring, both serious and bullshit, are just absolutely fantastic. And Like a Dragon carries that over, crossing over into the RPG sphere, like, nigh perfectly. Like, it's so good. I'll get into like the baseline of like the story. You have the main character Ichiban. He is not Kiryu. Kiryu was always like the silent badass who like had a heart of gold, right? Ichiban is genuinely a nice person who just happens to be a Yakuza, but he is terrible at everything that he does. But his one crowning character attribute is his undying loyalty in his boss. Like, he absolutely loves the boss. Then they go into a little bit of his backstory, how the two of them met. Pretty much he was just some punk kid that tried to make it look like that he was Yakuza. And when rival families caught him and beat the shit out of him, they were just like, yo, where's your family so that we can have a chat and a discussion, otherwise we're gonna kill you. And he just throws out there our Arakawa of the Tojo family. Has no idea who this motherfucker is. And they looked around and were like, this guy's not showing up. Well, the head man, the big guy of the family shows up and beats the fuck out of these dudes. And he was just like, you know what? I'll take him. I will take him. And he like lets him off. He lets him live. And like, Ichiban is like flabbergasted. He's just like, oh my God, like, you didn't have to do that. You could have just let me die. And he was just like, yeah, I know. And from that point on, he was constantly trying to prove himself, trying to show his dedication to the head of the Arakawa family, eventually allowing him into the Yakuza family. But he was absolutely terrible at his job. Like, there's one part where in the very beginning that you're trying to get money. You're trying to get like protection money from other people. So that you can pay or bring it back home to the family. There's this guy that's selling like fake animal porn to these kids, and after beating the shit out of him, instead of like bringing it back to his superiors, he gives it back to the kids because that's the right thing to do. Ends up getting the shit kicked out of him for it. But it's in his mind, it's like, no, that's the right thing to do. So everything about Ichiban is like through undying loyalty and the power of friendship. But he's so incompetent that I don't know how he functions as a human being. And it carries over after you start like getting into the story. Some interesting things that really highlight some social issues that Japan faces, namely with their homelessness crisis. They talk about how like, yo, nobody wants to be associated with the homeless because they're looked at as lazy, or they looked at as like a blight on society, and how these homeless people have to try to huddle together and rely on each other to survive, and that the police will just show up and kick all of them out. And then they're back at square one. They're trying to find some source of stability within a culture that wants nothing to do with them. The same thing goes for prostitution in Japan, because a lot of the people who are prostitutes were not from Japan in the first place. They immigrated over here with the help of work, or with the promises of work, ends up into the business, has kids, either leaves the country, dies, just fucks off or somewhere, and these kids don't have proper paperwork because they're not true Japanese citizens. So what's the only way that they can get money is by working in the prostitution field. And they touch on that quite a bit. It's very, very interesting. But then you get into the stupid shit, like the game has hobo Pokemon. There's an entire gag where it's just like, you meet the pseudo Professor Oak, and he's just like, I want to track and log all 230 types of Sujimon, which is just essentially all the people that you fight, the Yakuza, the hobos, the business people, anybody that you fight gets logged into this Pokedex of sorts. You can listen to their cries. You can like find what location that they're found in, what their weaknesses are. It's so dumb. It's absolutely the Hobodex. That's what it is. The way that you have your summons is based off of an escort service. So there's one part where your partner is trying to get lucky. He like finds an escort service, and they're just like, don't worry, we'll bring our services to you. And he's just like, oh shit, let's go, boys. This big black dude shows up, and he's just like, hey man, I'm your date for tonight. And he's just like, whoa, what the fuck do you mean? And he's just like, nah, I'm here for this. And he's just like, let me show you what my services are. And your party member is like, no, please don't. These two like ruffians come out of nowhere, and like they make eye contact, and they just want to start a fight. And they're just like, yeah, just press this button on the escort service app. And then he shows up and just pummels the shit out of these two dudes. And it's like, anytime you need me, you just got to pay a little bit of money, and then we'll show up, and then business will be taken care of. And then from that point on, anytime that you get a summon, it's through that escort app. And it's just, it doesn't give a shit. It doesn't care. It doesn't care how fucking wild some of the scenarios get. Ichiban thinks of the world. The reason why that the game runs like an RPG is that Ichiban, like, I don't know how they got the license to be able to say that. I guess it's some sort of parody thing. But Ichiban says, like, no, I think of the world in doing quests like Dragon Quest. Like, everything, the way that the world operates is as if I'm playing an RPG. So, like, in real time, it may be an actual brawl. But in Ichiban's mind, it runs like an RPG. And so he has all these stupid abilities and shit like that through traditional JRPG turn-based combat. It's by far the best game that I played all year. Like, and I played Final Fantasy VII Remake. I've played plenty of other games that came out this year. This is the one that's making the biggest impact on me. It is that good.
Nice.
That's my spiel.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Because I touched on this last week. I have played it. I'm not as far into it as you are. I played it a little bit more this week, but didn't get much time into it. So, yeah, I'm a bit behind. But everything you said, yeah, spot on. I think you've kind of nailed it down on like the way the characters are and stuff. And
I'm trying to avoid like actual character interactions because they're fantastic as well. They're super fucking good. I'm just trying to get in like everything else that goes around. The mini games in there. It has Virtua Fighter 5. Like,
yeah, we talked about that last week.
They have a whole PS3 arcade game in there. Virtua Fighter 5. They got Outrun. They got Virtua Fighter 2 in there. They've got so much packed in there, along with their own mini games, along with their own kart racer. Like, they have their own like kart racer in the game. It's so jam, like you don't even have to play the RPG or play the story. You could just bullshit with all these other different things. And I'm hoping that it's like Yakuza, where they also have like darts and they also have mahjong and chess. Like they have shogi in the game. I learned how to play shogi one night on stream. It was amazing. It's the fucking best, right? That's why I love these Yakuza games. Graham, the only thing I'm gonna say, I'm gonna close it out with this, but there's a summon that you get that's based off of Yakuzas in diapers. I want to know what your reaction to that is.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
Wow,
yeah, I know
okay,
about this from last Scrubverse episode, but I will not say anything.
Yep.
Okay, I will.
Let me know what you think.
I'll keep playing this week and see. I'll let you know. Okay, that's awesome.
I have a question. You said there's fake animal porn. What does that mean? Just issues of National Geographic?
No. So apparently in the storyline, like they obviously don't show anything, but what ends up happening is that Ichiban gets a call from either his best friend, sworn brother, or his supervisor saying like, hey, there is this guy on our turf selling pornography to these teenagers. However, the pornography turns out to be like bullshit animal porn. I need you to go deal with that and bring the money back here.
Oh, instead of real people porn?
Exactly. Like they were trying to get the rocks off and then they got fucking swindled.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense.
Yes, yeah. They just show the guy's got a load of VHS tapes in his backpack.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't see anything else, but other than that.
VHS has got to be porn.
Yep. Those were the days.
Yeah. I don't know if you know, Scotty, the game actually starts quite a few years back. Is it? What? I've actually forgotten the year it starts in. Is it
2001?
Oh, no, it starts in 1999, doesn't it?
I want to say it's like at the turn of the millennium because it was a big fucking deal.
Yeah, it's 1999. So I remember people were... Or was it 2000?
I think it was... I think it was 2001 because he goes away for, I believe, 18 years and the game's setting is in 2019.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, for some reason I thought it was 1999, but yeah, no, I think you're right. So yeah, late 90s, very early 2000s, that's what it said. So VHS is still kind of a thing around that time.
Yeah.
So,
I still bought VHS in 99, but...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about 01. Yeah, yep. Yeah, that sounds good. Unfortunately, I'll probably never play it because I just can't get into those games. There's too much for me. Right. I get overwhelmed with stuff like that.
They are dense. They are very, very dense. But, you could say that you're getting your money's worth when you buy a Yakuza game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know if I could say the same thing about like the first two games, like Yakuza 1 and 2, or the Kiwami games. I haven't played the Kiwami games. I played the original ones for PlayStation 2. Those were a little bit more streamlined, but since then they were just like, throw everything in there. Everything.
I think, Scotty, because I'm also the same as you. I steer away from a lot of RPGs these days, especially Japanese ones, which have a lot of stuff in them because I just don't have time for them. But with Yakuza, the way I've been playing it, I touched on like the arcades basically, but I didn't really go into many of the mini games for the bits I've played. But for the storyline, you can actually try and just stick to the storyline. And it's so cinematic. It's so well done. They're really engaged you. You want to keep playing. So I feel like it is. I feel like some people, even if you don't have a huge amount of time, you can just play the storyline. Don't get sidetracked. It's not like Grand Theft Auto, was it 4 or whatever, where you kept getting phone calls from your uncle to like go play bowling or something. You know, that bullshit, which was just really fucking annoying. But as I say, I'm not as far into it as Chris is. I will say one thing. Last week I sort of mentioned how I'm not a big fan of turn-based RPGs in general, and I was a bit hesitant about this one. It's grown on me. The turn-based combat has actually grown on me. It does get better. And, you unlock more abilities and you get other party members and stuff. So it just makes it, and it's a bit more dynamic. It's more dynamic. The actual what's happening on screen. Like for example, you could be against like three enemies, and you can like sort of select your attack, and then you sort of select the enemy you want to fight. But if you choose one who's at the back and there's like another enemy near you, as you run to fight that enemy, the enemy near you will like kick you or push you or punch you.
Yeah.
So they effectively stop you from making your attack, like almost like in a real fight. Like if you were standing near Chris and I went to hit you or something, Scotty, Chris would be like, get away from my mate, and sort of get me instead. So I felt that was really cool. So you have to sort of plan, be more strategic who you're fighting against, like
Yeah.
There could be
I
a
mean,
guy who's
that's
about to
how-
die
that's
and he's
how-
protected by 2 other people.
That's how grid-based what the hell is the term? Tactics-based RPGs. That's how they've always worked, but a lot of times they don't show you that happening. They just say Chris hit Scott because he was close before Graham hit Chris.
Yeah, like an attack of opportunity or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So it sounds like it just does a better job of presenting that. It sounds like you've fallen in love with the presentation more than anything.
Yeah, that could be it. I mean, it's just more fun to watch. I think in that sense, like it's
Right.
and it may actually. I think because of that, it makes me think as well. Where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to hit that guy, even though if I kill, I can kill that guy in one hit, but this guy's way closer and probably going to get me instead. So yeah, I don't know. It's a small thing, but I thought it was really cool.
I would also say, like, you feel the hits, like you feel the weight of the punches and kicks and everything when they happen. Like when Adachi hits somebody with his nightstick, like you feel the weight coming down on him. Like, oh God, that man is dead. He needs some milk. He needs some help now. It's super good. It's super good.
It's cool.
That's it. I'm off my soapbox.
Okay. Scotty, have you got any questions at all?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, perfect. With that, we'll move along from the craziness to my pick of the week, which is a movie from last year, 2019, called Dark Waters. Have either of you heard of this movie at all?
No.
Yeah, I do
Okay.
want to see it because I know it's Mark Ruffalo being Mark Ruffalo.
Sure. He's
Well, he's a big activist on environmental stuff and political things in real life.
So yeah, for those who don't know, the story, it's based on a true story. I vaguely remember this being in the news, but I didn't realize the impact of the whole thing around this. So some of you might know of it. It stars Mark Ruffalo, Anne Hathaway, Tim Robbins, Bill Pullman. They're kind of the main big actors. There's a few other actors in there I recognise but don't know their names. Essentially, Mark Ruffalo is an attorney who uncovers a connection between a growing number of unexplained deaths in cattle and people to this chemical manufacturing corporation called DuPont. Essentially, after a town has become contaminated due to unregulated chemicals being deposited within an area of the town. So it starts off with unexplained animal deaths. It's set in part of it's set in Parkersburg, West Virginia. And the cows are starting to get weird tumors and turning violent and dying, basically. And at one point, he's talking to this farmer, and the farmer sort of says, like, I'm going to show you my field where my cows are. And it's basically just like mounds of buried cows everywhere, like almost like little graves of cows. He's like, Jesus, how many did you lose? He goes, 190. So this farmer lost 190 cows in within a few months, basically, effectively. And basically the people in town started to get sick. And as I was watching it, I was thinking, I'm sure I've heard of DuPont. And then they started talking more about it. They're going more about it. And, they started talking about Teflon. So that's the stuff that a lot of non-stick frying pans use. And essentially the chemicals used in Teflon are actually super dangerous. And this is a case in real life that went on for over 20 years. And that sort of period of time is kind of covered in the movie. Like he'll be investigating certain aspects, and then he'll come across a roadblock, but then he'll sort of move on like 5 years, and then he'll like crack a bit in the case and stuff. And it's just mind blowing stuff, really. I found, in my opinion. Don't want to go too much into it. You can look up on Wikipedia and stuff if you need to, but the movie's well worth watching. It's very fascinating, and it's just kind of scary. Like, it's DuPont, if you don't know, is one of the biggest chemical manufacturing companies in the world, basically. And it's like the power that they have to basically cover all this stuff up and to fight against, just small town people who are like literally dying because they're getting poisoned. They have no control over this stuff. It's getting into the water system and everything like that. It's getting into the water system. Cows are also drinking that water. It's then getting into the people's meat and stuff like that. And there's a chemical, or like there's a component that's used in a lot of packaging called PFOA. And that has now, this is a scary fact that came out in the movie, as I think it's like of last year. That chemical PFOA is now being detected in the blood of more than 98% of the population of America. So effectively it's in everybody, and it's been seen that this contamination has spread across to every continent in the world. It's actually almost scary, effectively, about the stuff they're talking about. So, I mean, I'm not saying everyone's going to get sick in America, just saying that there's a small percentage of this chemical that's now, because it's used in so many products and in non-stick frying pans, it technically is kind of in everybody now. It's really scary, but it's a brilliant movie, well worth watching. It's like David versus Goliath, sort of typical movie, and I love the way they portrayed the characters and stuff. Like Mark Ruffalo, he's quite high up in his company, but he's not like the main boss. And quite often in these movies and stuff, they'll portray the main boss just to be a dick who's always after money. This guy is dubious at the start, but when Mark Ruffalo starts to investigate more and more and comes up with evidence, the boss is actually genuinely like, we need to do something about this. This is fucking ridiculous, because all the other partners in the company are like, this seems a bit, we're going against one of the biggest companies in the world. We probably shouldn't do this. And he's just like, did anybody actually read this evidence? We need to do something. And I thought it was just really cool. And yeah, well worth a watch. Really fun. Yeah. Have you guys got any questions about it at all?
No, I need to. Where did you watch it?
So this was I think it's on Amazon Prime in the UK. I don't know if it's available in America on Amazon Prime, but that's where I watched it, is on Amazon Prime. So hopefully a streaming service over there has it.
I'll have to look it up. I do want to see it. I have wanted to for a while. I don't know what this says about anything, but all the Marvel movies have taught me, like, what I get out of them now is I need to look up other stuff that these cast members have done, because I don't want to associate all of these people with like only the Marvel movies, because they've done such better dramatic roles and other things that I need to really because I knew in my like psyche I knew about Mark Ruffalo and all these other characters and all these other actors before the Marvel films, but I don't think I bothered to look too far into them. But yeah, I do want to see it. DuPont Parkersburg is a little over 2 hours away from me, and then to just give you an idea of how ridiculous the size of this country is compared to yours, Graham, Taylor Swift's Christmas Tree Farm is over 4 hours away from me and in the same state as me.
Oh yeah, that's like a whole other country for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
but this sounds cool. I'd like to see it.
Cool. Yeah, well worth it. Chris, any...
one last comment I'll say, that that's why everybody gets their own chickens, I guess.
Yes, yeah, that's why Chris has got his own chickens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not a movie guy, so this is lost on me. I
Fair
apologize.
enough.
It's interesting. I'll look it up. Like, I'll look up the entire fiasco, or I was just reading about the actual chemical itself.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Fair enough. That's cool. Yeah, it's just something to think of. I mean, I've got Teflon products in my house. I was like, oh Jesus! Like,
we do. I think about
just
that.
To be clear, I think just using Teflon is fine in the frying pans. But if the black stuff starts to come off them, that's the time to actually get rid of it, because they were sort of saying that is when you're showing that it's actually kind of dangerous to use. But it's made me really think about stuff I'm using now. Like, as soon as we watch this movie, basically we got an old dish tray thing that's non-stick, and it's starting to peel a little bit, and Kate just literally threw it out. She's like, yeah, I'm not cooking with this thing, basically. Like, yeah, kind of. I don't want to scare people with this movie.
Supersize me. You're having that effect.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I was just genuinely like, oh yeah, this is actually quite serious, this stuff that's happening. So I know it's a small chance that it could affect you, but I know
we mainly use like stainless steel and stuff like that. So
we definitely have Teflon stuff.
Yeah, I guess
we recycle though. Honey, I gotta tell you about this sandwich.